characters are kind of the perfect nemesis, if you like, the light and the dark, the yin and the yang. And I just wondered if you, like, sort of were watching each other and if it really spurred you on to kind of step up to the plate in a really good way by seeing where the other person was taking that sort of element of their character.
I mean, yeah, I've talked about it before, but just from the original cast Zoom with Austin and seeing how he was channeling the spirit of the Baron Harkonnen and the spirit of Stellan Skarsgård, and simply by way of being impressed, it was inspiring, you know, and made me want to, you know, do justice to House Atreides and do justice to Duke Leto in the way that I saw Austin doing justice to the Baron.
I felt the same way. I mean, I had the great fortune of being to see Dune Part 1, so I was able to see Timothy's commitment there, and then, like he was just saying, that first Zoom and where we read the entire script and seeing how he had charted Paul's journey now, and the gravitas and the power that he brought to that, it was incredibly exciting, and it just made me so thrilled to get to go on this journey with him.
Feyd-Rautha, he's psychotic.
The first film obviously really sets the scene brilliantly for the second one. Were you pleased to be able to come back and sort of finish the chapter and tell that part of the story in the second film?
Yeah, I was pleased. I mean, yeah, the joke was, no, I'm not pleased and I wish I hadn't done it, but that's not the truth.
No.
The truth is I'm extremely pleased to continue to work with these actors, and especially Greg Fraser, the director of photography, Patrice Vermette, who is the production designer, and especially Denis, the director. I love him.
And of course, like a really important element in the second film is your character's relationship with Paul Atreides. And, you know, in the absence of him having a father, I feel like your character really steps into that and really helps guide him. And I wondered if you could talk a little bit about that and what you think that meant in terms of the development of the character.
I think that what he does is he continues to ground him, whereas he was kind of bringing him up to a certain level of, for lack of a better word, you know, manhood or manliness or whatever, you know, resiliency, and now it's more about bringing him back down to this grounded place and being able to, you know, that's why I think there's a great contrast, because they're the same, they're just coming from two different points of view, where you have the Fremens and you have Gurney. They represent basically the same thing, but just from different walks of life, but it's the same level of kind of a feral, you know, feralness. So, yeah, I like that, but he's more of a witness and more of a support in this than he is a mentor anymore. You know what I mean? He's witnessing him grow into kind of stratospheric levels, consciousness.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess still there is like a stabilizing factor for him as well.
That's why I mean it grounded, groundedness.
Yeah. And I guess, Timothy, for you, how important do you think that love story is between your character and Zendaya's character against like this backdrop of, you know, politics, revenge, fighting? Like, how important is that?
Yeah, the love story in this film is sort of the heart of it. It's sort of, in some aspects, the most important part, because without it, you know, every great story, every great movie needs an emotional center. This one happens to be the emotional center in this one. So it was extremely important. It was sort of the trickiest dynamic to find with Zendaya and with Denis, because of the nature of the tone of the movie, and you didn't want it to feel contemporary, but it couldn't be otherworldly either, so it was a tricky thing to find. But I'm proud of the job we did there.
Absolutely, yeah, it's brilliant. And Austin, for you, when you're all made up and in character, is it quite liberating to look in the mirror and not recognize yourself?
Absolutely, yeah.
And to be able to like fully embrace this sort of psychotic character.
Yeah, in a way, the further that I looked from myself, the more freeing it became, because then it helped me to just leave the rest of the world to the side and just live in this world of Dune.
What we do for the benefit of all.
Well, I'd very much like to be equal to you.
Maybe I'll show you the way.
there are so many themes in this film. You know, the emphasis on water being a very precious commodity. We see very much with Zendaya's character sort of that generational change, really, where she's sort of really challenging the older generation on what they believe. And the books were written quite a while ago. You know, does it strike you that those are all still so prescient nowadays, that, you know, the film is still so relevant, even though some of the material is based from a while ago?
But I think it's always the case. I think even if you go back to before it was created, you know, the kind of ecological themes and sensitivities that Frank Herbert had, that he wove into that book, and how are we treating our planet? How are we treating ourselves? Where's our integrity? You know, what's our own trajectory of our coming of age? How much do we challenge ourselves? How much do we resort to comfort? You know, kind of a Stoics mentality, Marcus Aurelius, that kind of shit.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all kind of interwoven into this story, not just from Denis, from Frank Herbert first and foremost, and then interpreted by Denis beautifully.
Absolutely. And you, just to come back to something you mentioned just now, and working with the wonderful actors that you did, this looks like it was an absolute joy to work with everyone on and to be on set with, and, you know, the younger members of the cast, the more established members of the cast.
Yeah.
Was it as much fun as what it looks like?
It was more fun than what it looks like. Like I always say, it's a familial thing and it's a family that's created and all that. Every movie is. It's just not necessarily a family that you want. You know what I mean? This is a family that was really exciting about doing, you know, the rest of the movie, or Dune Part 2, the rest of the book. I have a lot of respect for these actors.
Form of power that our world has not yet seen. The ultimate power.
When you were sort of reading the script and you know, the whole way through these films, did it strike you how much is still relevant today from the films?
Yeah, absolutely. It's both prescient and a little despairing how much resonates today. But to your point about the generational divide between Chinese Fremen and Stilgar's Fremen, I think that's a nuance they fleshed out from the book, that they almost advanced more, which I thought was sort of brilliant, because that feels very true to today. I think about one scene in particular early on in the movie, so I don't feel like I'm spoiling too much, but where Chani and Stilgar really come to shouting about something they disagree on. And really, that visual is so contemporaneously relevant, you know. So I really liked that they brought that out, that dynamic.
Thank you.
Thank you.